come up with a 10-year goal. What is your 10-year goal? And that's going to be dreaming. You have to dream. If you can't dream, then you're never going to accomplish anything. Dreaming is very important. So where do we want to be 10 years from now financially? Where do we want to be 3 years from now? That's the next segment, 3 years. Where do we want to be a year from now? And then what do you have to do tomorrow? Welcome to the Wiser Retirement Podcast, where we believe the best financial advice should always be conflict-free. I'm your host, Casey Smith. Guiding you to financial freedom today are my co-hosts, Missie Beach and Michaela Dowdy. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
So this team right here, you guys call yourselves the M&M team. Best financial planners in the city. Country, probably, honestly. World, I guess.
Top tier. The A team.
Definitely the A team. I'm so glad to have you guys here. It's for those of you who have worked with them, you know how great they are. Michaela's a rock star. Missy comes with so much wisdom. And so it's an honor to have you guys on the podcast. I think I asked you to be. Maybe you didn't have a choice, but I'm glad to have you here. I want to talk about, well, first of all, I mean, you guys are rock stars. We have a bigger rock star coming up after we do this segment. Orrin Checkmate Hudson. He's been on the podcast in the past, and he's doing some great things in our community. And I wanted to profile him since we're in the holiday season and talk more about what he's doing to help young men, young women. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That's going to be way better than this checklist we're about to talk about.
Yes, much more exciting.
We are on the same wavelength.
All right, so with you guys, let's talk about the annual financial planning checklist. So it's coming year end. There's probably some things you should be doing to get ready for year end. Honestly, if you have a financial plan, which every client at Wise Wealth Management is supposed to have a financial plan, I think 99% do. You don't really need a year-end checklist because we've been doing planning this whole time, right? That's the whole point of planning. But probably some basic things. Let's walk through our list here before year end.
Okay.
I think it's a good opportunity to sit down and do a personal balance sheet. What are my assets? What are my liabilities? Right?
Yeah.
So
see where you are.
How much money, how much cash do I have? Right. Let's not extend ourselves over the holidays and expenses.
That's key right there. Do it before the holiday spending,
right?
Not after.
Know what you have. I think emergency funds are important. I mean, a lot of people are talking about how bad 24 could be a recession, could be all these negative things. Now, these people are always out there. Always out there with their negativity because they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you a subscription. They're trying to keep you to stay tuned to the show, watch the advertisements, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's always an incentive, financial incentive for them to be negative. But we still want to have an emergency fund set up. We want to have at least 6 months of our expenses set aside.
Absolutely.
And if you have that, what's that old saying? If it's a recession when your neighbor loses his job, but when you lose your job, it's a depression.
Yes.
Right. So,
And the great thing is that, your cash is actually earning a little bit now.
that's new. Yeah.
It's true. Not enough to keep up with inflation, but
Well, yeah. I mean, if you believe inflation numbers, CPI is right around 3%. You could get upwards of 5% on your savings account and a high yield savings account now.
CPI, but how about Publix?
Yes.
Or rent.
Yes. You guys talk with a lot of clients, don't you? Yeah. Right. Exactly.
CPI,
So theoretically, you're beating inflation, but yes, we all know that real inflation is what it costs you more, and yes, groceries are costing a lot more now. But 5% is better than the 0 we were getting before and having inflation.
Yes,
Definitely.
And I think by now everybody's heard the spiel about getting your money out of your big monster mega bank savings account earning 0.09% interest.
Hallie just had me do a video about that, so they're about to get
Yay.
reminded, which
Okay.
will be posted on our YouTube channel, A Wiser Retirement, where you can actually watch this podcast.
Oh, cool.
Hey, you know what the most watched podcast has been so far?
I'm afraid to know.
The whiskey edition.
Of course.
Yeah. Whiskey, the gift. We did that with our whiskey friend, Robert, who's also the president of Teton Crypto Capital, but most watched on YouTube was our whiskey edition.
At the conference we were at yesterday, they did a raffle for a bottle of whiskey after one of these sessions. We didn't win.
Yeah, we didn't.
Is that to get you to stay?
Probably.
That's crazy.
That's what he said.
Uh-huh.
So you spoke at that conference. How did that go?
It was great. So I spoke on the Women in Wealth panel to do the rah-rah speech for why women only make up less than a quarter of the population of financial advisors.
Wow. I should be on that panel one time.
Yeah, there were no men.
Well, I think that's the whole point of the panel, but no, I believe that women make better financial advisors than men in most cases.
But on every other panel of the day, I think there was one other woman on the first panel? Were there any
there was
others?
one other woman on the third or fourth panel,
And
but
that
it was
was
mainly
it.
men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But those people are paying to be there, right? On some of those panels?
Some were sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that changes anything.
Yeah,
but,
how does that?
But
Only men have money to pay there and be a sponsor.
No, but it's such a male dominated wholesale community that I kind of can see that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because women are smarter. They're not going to be wholesalers. There's a purpose for wholesalers. Sorry if I offended if you're a wholesaler. But yeah, no, I heard you did great.
Thanks.
Did you get pictures, Michaela?
I did.
I'll have to post those somewhere on social media so everybody can see. All right, so we want to make sure that we have an emergency fund. We want to make sure that our debt's decreased over the year. You know, let's kind of get a status report of what's happening. Did our debt go down this year? Has it
Been paid off?
or yes?
Yes.
Missy's looking at me like,
on,
you mean
Casey.
paid down debt? You mean paid off debt, right? Or have no debt still for our retirees for
There
sure.
we go.
You know, a lot of people talk about checking your credit score. I don't know. I'm not so big on credit scores. I just think you just need to be debt free and not worry about a credit score.
And have your credit locked. That's my big thing.
For retirees, for sure. But for young people listening to the podcast who are looking to purchase homes, that's something that you probably should monitor.
Yeah. Well, you can lock it and then unfreeze it so easily. If you're going to go through a mortgage, you just
True.
unfreeze it for whatever time period you want to unfreeze it for.
Setting financial goals. Now, this is something we do in our planning process. But for those of you who've not gone through that planning process, you really got to have like short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And we have a whole podcast we dedicated to goal setting. And my quick 30-second version of this is you come up with a 10-year goal. What is your 10-year goal? And that's going to be dreaming. You have to dream. If you can't dream, then you're never going to accomplish anything. Dreaming is very important. So where do we want to be 10 years from now financially? Where do we want to be 3 years from now? That's the next segment, 3 year. Where do we want to be a year from now? And then what do you have to do tomorrow? That's how you set goals. 10, 3, 1, and then what do I do tomorrow? Or in our office, we think in terms of rocks you have to move over the next 30 days. So what are the things that I have to do to fix these problems in our workflows or whatever? Those are, and if I fix the workflow, then that's going to allow this to happen better, which allows marketing to do this better, which then allows us to then grow and hit our 1 year goal, which if we hit our 1 year goal, then we have a pretty good chance of hitting that 3 year goal. If we hit that 3 year goal, we have a pretty good chance of hitting that 10-year goal, right? So it applies to your personal life as well and how you set that. So short, mid, long term, and goals are very important. I make my own kids set goals, which we talked about here on the podcast before.
Ding. I was going to go down that path too. So after you set your own goals, I think it's really helpful to sit down with your kids, especially teenagers, and say, okay, Dad and I have set our own goals. Why don't we sit down with you and figure out what your goals are? Show them their W-2 for their part-time job. Like, for example, my son works at a golf course and, he made, I don't know, a couple grand last summer or whatever it was. And we'll talk about how much do you need for your walk around spending? And then how much can you afford to put into your Roth IRA? And so we did the math and he figured out how much he was going to put into the Roth. And then I said, okay, well, looking forward to next summer, do you think your hours will be about the same and you'll make about the same? And let's target that same amount to put into your Roth for the next year.
Yeah.
And so it's just natural then that these kids will grow up to think about, how much of my paycheck am I going to set aside for retirement? And it's a no-brainer.
Are you curious why annuities keep coming up as a potential investment option? People are often told that annuities can effectively mitigate investment risks and help secure their financial future. However, annuities often benefit the salesperson and might not be the best choice for you as a consumer. To learn more about the various types of annuities, the negatives of owning them, and better investment alternatives, we have a free ebook on our website just for you. To download our ebook, Buyer Beware, Why Do They Keep Trying to Sell You That Annuity? Simply click the link in the episode notes or visit wiserinvestor.com/guides. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, increases good habits.
No, definitely. And it was interesting yesterday. We were talking about getting women into finance, and the women that were on the panel, or the ones that were speaking out about how they got into the profession, was because a parent sat down with them and had a transparent conversation about finances. Mm-hmm. And so that's not to say you want your kids to become financial planners or advisors. Granted, we'd love that. But definitely going ahead and giving them the space to feel empowered in finances is huge, and to just set goals for themselves, mm-hmm. career-wise or school-wise or otherwise. So
another year in, after you set goals, it's just looking at retirement savings plans. Are you maxing out your 401k? Are you allocated correctly? Are you allocating the right amount to Roth versus traditional? Mm-hmm. Right. And those are all things that require a little math, and that's where we can help with that. But
oh yeah, we love to do that in meetings when we're looking at client plans to look at the tax implications of pre-tax versus Roth contributions, mm-hmm. because it's not always as you think it'll be. Even if you're a high earner, mm-hmm. a lot of times moving 401k savings to the Roth side and paying that tax now at a high bracket still makes sense over the long run. So
depends on timeline. That's
yep.
what it comes down to.
It's all a personal.
If you're in the 37% tax bracket and you're 20 years you're in your 20s, mm-hmm. then the Roth is probably still going to work out. Mm-hmm. But if you're in the 37% tax bracket and you're 55, that's a different mm-hmm. story, right?
Yep.
So yeah. Rebalancing the portfolio is important. So you want to make sure that your risk tolerance stays the same. So that's something you should be reviewing probably near year end as you get ready for the next year. Tax planning. So if you have a good financial advisor or a good asset manager, they're doing tax loss harvesting for you. We talk about this quite frequently on our podcasts. This is where, let's say that the S&P 500's up this year, double digits, but let's say we were in a 2022 environment again, it was down. You could sell the S&P 500. You could buy another S&P 500 fund. You're doing this in your brokerage account, not your retirement accounts. You would take the loss, but you're not out of the market. You're just take the loss, you invest right back into a different S&P fund or a large cap fund. You take that loss in your tax return. Yes. That's called tax loss harvesting. Magic. It increases your gains over the long term, just in a different way through your tax return. You can deduct up to $3,000 per year, but the losses carry forward. So if you're selling a business, you're gonna have a $1.5 million taxable gain in the future. This year, you could realize $400,000 in losses in your portfolio. Take the loss, the credit rolls over. When you sell your business, there's less of a tax hit.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm amazed at how many people don't do it.
Oh, I know.
I don't think any Edward Jones people do it. I've never seen an Edward Jones portfolio that was tax loss harvested ever. Mm-hmm. Other firms, I don't know. I think it just comes down to advisors that understand what's happening mm-hmm. With you personally, and most of them are just managing assets.
True.
Right.
Hey, on the flip side, if you have a custodial account and that has some gains, you you could take like $1,000 worth of gains on your child's account, and they're not going to pay any income tax on it. That's a way to not let a custodial account build up massive gains over the years, is to just chip away maybe $1,000 a year of gain at a time, up until the minor turns into an adult, and kind of manage that account a little bit so it's not huge gains when it turns over to them.
That's a very good point. Saving money. So I think most families want to save money, but they don't want to give up the lifestyle. But no matter how much money you make, saving money doesn't mean that you can't go do things. It just means you're smarter about things. So I would encourage people to go through 3 months of their credit cards and checking accounts, looking for things that they're spending money on every month and they don't know. For me, and this is small, but we have the family plan, with Apple, and the kids will somehow get subscribed to things. And it's $2.99 a month, or it's it's whatever it is, but it all adds up. Go through your iPhone under the subscriptions, go to settings, subscriptions, and see what's in there. I found Paramount. I have a subscription to Paramount. I've never watched Paramount a day in my life. I don't know how that got there, but I was paying like $9 a month for it, or $5, whatever it was. And I said, well, I don't know what that is. That doesn't bring me any joy. So that is going away.
And no one
it's like one of the kids' favorite shows.
That was like, but that was months ago. No one said a word.
See, that's just it. No one cared.
Signed up for the free trial.
Someone wanted to watch a movie, signed up for the free trial, and never turned it off. If I ever do that, I just immediately go turn it off.
Yeah, I know. But other people in the family don't think that way.
Yeah, go through, look for that. Look for things in your checking account. They go, oh, I don't really need that anymore. I think about my car internet half the time. I'm like, I don't know if I need internet in my car. Do I really need internet in my car?
Yeah, because you work out of your car. You do. It's your office away from the office.
I go like months and not use it, and then sometimes it like saves me. So. But yeah, I look at that every time. I don't really spend $15 a month on that, but, so yeah, go through that. Another thing is car insurance. So right now in Georgia, there's mostly price increases. So it's harder going to find deals, on auto insurance right now, but that's something that you should review. I would honestly say, don't review it for cost, but review it for quality. I'd say, what do we say? 40 to 50% of the time, there's modifications that have to be made to property casualty insurance when we do financial planning.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yeah.
Like not enough coverage. Like if something had happened, you wouldn't have gotten a whole house back, or it would have been smaller.
It's scary how many people come in and will have like the minimal coverage. And you're like,
right.
Your net worth is here.
$10 million net worth, and you have liability coverage on your car. Yeah, exactly.
Because you wanted to save a couple grand on car insurance, and you're putting millions at risk. Woo.
In the planning process, I always tell people there's more than one way to lose money. It's not just the stock market.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why we do holistic planning, to protect that nest egg.
Also, if you're not maxing out your 401k, if you've gotten pay raises this year, I think the average American's had at least a 4% pay increase this year. Maybe take a % or 2 of that and apply it towards your 401k to help try to save more money for the future.
Or maybe you're in such a, plush cash situation at the end of the year, you can ramp up your 401k savings and withhold all your last check to the 401k.
True. Another way, or another things to think about is, can I do a Roth conversion? So if you're married jointly, your standard deduction's a little over $24,000 this year. You're in the 12% tax bracket up until around $68,000. So if you add the standard deduction to that, that's almost $90,000. You're in the 12% tax bracket. So if you add up all your income, and in the future you think you'd be higher than the 12% tax bracket, now's a great time to be converting IRA to Roth, because you're in the low tax bracket. Now, if you think you're being in the 12% tax bracket the rest of your life, then I wouldn't prepay the tax. But if you can save 10 to 12% on tax by converting your retirement to a Roth now, that's something to consider. Other way, if you have earned income, but maybe you're earning less than the threshold for a Roth, you could both put in $7,000 into a Roth IRA. You want to do that, but that doesn't have to be done by 12/31. That just needs to be done by the time you file your tax return next year. So that's something else to be thinking about. That's something we go through during our review meetings with clients, which is why we want all of our clients to do review meetings with us once a year to make sure that we're not missing any of those opportunities.
Exactly. And send us their current tax return.
Yes, and that current tax return is very important. A lot of times there's surprises to us on there that we go, oh, wow, we actually have an opportunity to do something a little different. We didn't realize that. And that comes from the tax return. The I guess the other part is if you don't have a 401k available to you, you can still contribute to an IRA and get a tax deduction. So those are things to think about as well as you approach the end of the year. What am I missing there?
One other thing is with withholding. If you feel like you are under withheld for the year and your CPA thinks you need additional withholding,
right,
the best way to do that is going to be via payroll withholding, because that gets evenly applied throughout the year, no matter when it goes in via payroll withholding. So even if you have like all your checks withheld for federal tax in the month of December, the IRS thinks that's okay. I'll spread out those withholding payments throughout the whole year, versus if you sent in an estimated payment, that would only get tagged as of the date that you sent it in. So, for example, if you got paid a huge bonus in the beginning of the year, you're probably going to be under withheld because you're in a high tax bracket, and that only gets withheld at the statutory rate of 22%. So you probably have a little differential that you're going to owe at tax time, and perhaps be in an underpayment penalty situation if you don't meet the safe harbor. So check in with your CPA to see if you're in a potential underpayment position, and you might need to jack up your withholding in the month of December.
I think that probably covers what I'd be looking at near the end of the year, but really it's not much different than an annual review meeting that you do in our planning process.
Oh, one more thing.
And there's more.
There's more. Sorry. Before we go, check your beneficiaries, because this is huge.
Yeah.
So just log in at your custodian. You know, if you're with us, you're at Schwab, and we've done this at your annual review. But don't forget to log into your 401k plans at work, your life insurance, and check your beneficiaries to make sure that they coincide with your estate plan. And, you know, everybody's still living. You still like everybody.
Right.
You know, all those questions.
You know, one that I would add to that is in a brokerage account, people don't realize you can add a transfer on death.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Right?
Why do you want to do that?
You want to do that because now that account can skip probate.
Exactly.
Ding, ding.
Makes it so much easier, because we have quite a few clients right now going through the process where could have just been a TOD and would have been so much easier. And they're having to go through hoops upon hoops to get things moving.
Yeah.
They think their parents had everything buttoned up, and then they'll find like these rogue accounts that,
Yeah. I have to say, you have to be very diligent in uncovering everything. I mean, even clients that we've done estate planning for and they passed away, it's amazing how many times we still see surprises.
I know, these little checking accounts.
We had one that still had a checking account with her joint with her ex-husband at another bank.
Oh,
and from like 10 plus years ago. I guess she had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but how do you forget about, and the statement comes to the house every month.
Oh.
You know, it's like, how do you forget about that? So it's just, you have to, even if you're not super organized, you have to take some time and be super organized.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and button everything up. But yeah, the transfer on death is a great thing to add to a brokerage account. Now your IRA by default is going to be asking for a beneficiary, but not a brokerage account.
Nope.
But you can do the same thing to your checking accounts.
Yes.
At the bank. You can put TODs on your checking and savings accounts.
And that's the key. It's only at death. So it's not
Yep.
during
Doesn't
life.
give them any rights while you're living. That's very true. So, well, thank you, ladies. I think those are all good topics, and thank you for all your hard work. It's been a busy year.
It has been. Let's close it out. Ooh.
You guys keep doing this.
That is the third time.
That's how in sync you guys are.
Well, next time you just need one of us. Like we say the same things.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure we'll be getting lots of positive comments from the women's panel you're on, Missy. Thanks for representing Wiser. And
my pleasure.
Michaela, did you get pictures?
I did.
I think I asked you that already.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
good.
going to airdrop them to Hadley, but we've been busy this morning. So.
Good. All right. We got to get that on social media and show what a rock stars you guys are. All right, guys. Talk to you later. So I'm excited to welcome my friend Orrin Checkmate Hudson.
Thank you.
From Be Someone back to our show. Orrin, it's been over a year, I think, since you've been here, and we have a much bigger audience now. So let's talk a little about what you're doing in the community.
Well, I'm teaching young people to move with love, to do no harm, to be a force for good. I'm teaching them to pause, ponder, pivot, pray, proceed, then you can prosper. Don't do the first thing that pops in your head. The first thing that pops in your head is usually a trap.
So you're doing this through chess.
I'm using the game of chess to teach 6 magic words. Take time to think things through. I owe my life to a white teacher in an all-black high school who pulled me to the side and said, listen, I'm going to teach you chess. I said, no, I'm a checker guru. He said, checkers? Using half of the board. He said, checkers are all men. He said, chess, the female, is the most powerful piece on the board. I said, let's get on with the classes.
So right now you're doing after school events, right?
I'm doing after school events. I'm doing an event on December 22nd, which is on a Saturday. So it's more than after school. So I'm just trying to get kids engaged and teaching them to think and teaching them to just be a good human being. You know, do no harm. Human life has value. Think it out. Don't shoot it out. Push pawns instead of drugs. Get your head up. Get your pants up. Get your grades up. And the big one, never give up.
And so tell me what you're solving in the community, because I guess in the past, we've talked about these kids are on the streets if they don't have something to do.
Right.
And so many other programs have been failing. Right. And how is chess, how are people attracted to chess?
Because it's instant gratification. It's teaching them how to delay instant gratification, how to delay the process. But your moves matter. Movement is life. And the moves you make determine the road you take. You got to think things through. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. We teaching children that moves matter and all moves are valid. It didn't matter who you are. It didn't matter where you come from. If you make a good move, you get good results. Nature is neutral.
Yeah. And I would think at some point that you're also a great male figure for a lot of kids who don't have male figures in their lives. I mean, you and I talk frequently, and you were telling me you had a lady come to you and say, hey, can you help my son? He's making bad decisions.
I had a lady call me yesterday who's having trouble with her son, and I told her I would help him and we'll get him on track because that child is me. And I helped this kid not long ago, and I helped him get a job, got him cleaned up, and he called his uncle crying and said, wow, I can't believe I met this guy, and he helped me get a job, and he blah, blah, blah. He called his uncle. And uncle called me like, oh, my God, man, you made my nephew cry, and I'm coming to see you because what you're doing is work. I said, your nephew is me.
Right.
And what I sincerely desire for others will happen for me.
So as you go through the program, what's your retention rate? How long do these kids come through the program?
Well, it depends.
Because there's probably different ages too.
I've got some kids that I've been helping for the last 6 years, so it just depends on will they move away, will they go somewhere. But I'm just helping children for life. I would say you have me for life. If you ever need me, I'm here for you, and if I can help you get a job, I'll do that as well. So I'm helping children get jobs. I'm teaching them how to make good decisions. I'm teaching them to be a force for good. I'm teaching them that the good you do comes back multiplied to you.
What do you think? Well, I know you have alumni you have alumni that have, they're grown adults now. How long you been doing this?
I've been doing this about 23 years. I have a couple of kids who graduated from college and who are doing good. One of my students went to Georgia State, and they said they never hire volunteers, but we gonna hire you because I'm teaching my students to go above and beyond and to do everything would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because excellence is not enough. You have to be amazing. Steph Curry is amazing, and you have to be amazing. Now, when you are amazing, you separate yourself from the competition. When you are amazing, you have no competition.
Right. What? So you're talking about your going through college. Something that we've talked about on the phone is schools, and it shocks me that the schools just don't open up their doors and let your organization come in. What's going on? Do you think that? What's the resistance?
It's people don't know what they don't know, and then they'll see it eventually, and they go, "Oh wow, I did not know that." So it's making a way. I remember I submitted something to do something with somewhere in DeKalb County, and 11 people said no, and the lady said, "No, we getting him," and I got in. But what? Thank God that she showed up in the building, and she had power to overturn these other people. I did some stuff with the library system in DeKalb County. The lady said if I have a meeting, they'll block it. So I'm gonna prove this ahead of time. And when I did, it was very successful. So some people don't get it, and we have to help people who don't get it because it's the responsibility of the conscious to help the unconscious be conscious of their unconscious behavior. In other words, those who don't get it, we have to help those who don't get it because those who don't get it don't realize they don't get it. So a lot of times people don't know. It's called poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. For an example, Atlanta Falcons had Brett Favre. We cut Brett Favre.
Right.
People don't get it until it's too late. So sometimes
and many other people actually over the years.
Sometimes a prophet is not welcome in his own country because sometimes people assign a number to you. And they will keep that number assigned to you no matter how advanced you are. And then they'll see it later. Like in the town where Jesus was born, he can help many people because of their unbelief. So we got to believe, and people are getting it through the parents that I'm helping. And the parents are kind of like, oh, hey, man, this guy helped my child, da-da-da-da. And they see testimonies. So God is good. I had a principal call me the other day, and they see the value in what I'm doing. So it's coming around. Just some people just don't understand because they say, well, how he's able to do this, but I'm getting help from God. I really am. I teach the children as though my life depends on it because we all are one. And I was a state trooper for 7 years. I had the blue light, the badge, the bulletproof vest. But everybody I stopped, I treated them like the most important person in the world because we all are one. And what you sincerely desire for others will happen for you.
So as you go through your program, so you have the after school program, you have this event in December. Where is the event being held?
It's going to be at the training center. It's going to be 949 Stevenson Road, Stone Mountain. And we're going to be teaching children how to navigate through the complexities of life and how to make your next move the best move.
So Move with Love leadership training is that?
Move with Love leadership training where you have a life-size chessboard where we're going to be teaching people how to think things through and how to be a champion, and that, pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is the key to success in all fields. Once you know the pattern, you can plan, you can prepare, you can position, you can predict. Success is predictable. If you make good moves, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you make good moves, you will get good results.
What I like about your program is you're teaching people that no matter what your circumstance, that there are opportunities for you, and not to play the victim. So much of our society, red, black, yellow, blue people, it doesn't matter. We love to play the victim. We love to say, oh, woe is me. This couldn't happen to me because I'm whatever, or they don't like me, and that's the message. You're not playing the victim message. You're saying that that you're in charge of yourself.
You're responsible for your own success, and there's no blame in this game. I'm responsible. I have everything I need to win the game. I have my mind, I have my ability, I have my talents and my time. So we ain't playing the blame game. We're going to take 100% responsibility for our success. If it's to be, it's got to be me. No one's coming to the rescue.
So how does that go against current culture, though?
People playing the blame game. People always. I went to Sonic's the other day and I bought a banana split, and the clerk forgot to put the bananas on, and I told my staff when I got back to the building, I said I caught it ahead of time, but I said it's not her fault. It's everything is on me, no matter what. So we are 100% responsibility for no matter what. I was a state trooper. I remember one time this lady came to me. She said, "Oren, I had 5 accidents, and the insurance company canceled me, and none of them were my fault." I said, "You accident prone. you accident prone. It was not your fault, but you called 5 accidents in a few months. You accident prone. Yeah, but that was never my fault. You still accident prone,
right?"
So I tell people it's always on you. Here's why. The mountain can't get any bigger, but you can. And if you blame the mountain, if you blame the government, taxes and prices, you can't change that. But you can work on you, and you can get stronger, you can get wiser, and you can get better. So every day just become a little bit better, and look for the silver lining. When something happened to you, there's always a silver lining. Everybody falls sometime. You got to have the strength to rise from the ashes and make a new beginning.
Do you feel like that the young people that you work with come in with that attitude that they've already been beaten down? Or in your example, someone who is a troublemaker, who's known as a troublemaker, eventually identifies themselves as a troublemaker, and that's all they can do is make trouble, right?
I tell them my own story. I was a gang member in my teens. I was making a lot of bad decisions. I was mostly following the follower. And the teacher said, "Listen, Oren," he said, "I'm going to teach you how to think for yourself." He said, "Make sure what you do is a product of your own conclusion, and don't just be a follower." Because when I was a teenager, they say breaking this, you do it. They said do this, you do it. I was just following the follower.
Yeah.
So I thank God for James Edge. Hayes High School teacher taught me how to think for myself and make sure what I'm doing was a product of my own conclusion. So I'm teaching children not what to think, but how to think and how to make their next move the best move, because moves matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So your organization is a nonprofit.
It's a 501c3.
You do this. This is 100% of your life. You do this 24/7.
A full-time soldier sleeps with his boots on. A lady called me at 1:30 in the morning. She said her son was in a gang. Nobody would help her. And she said, "Would I volunteer my service and sign a court affidavit for a year to help her son?" I said, "Yes."
Oh, wow.
I helped the son. He graduated. A reporter said, "Why would you take a phone call from a complete stranger in the middle of the night?" I said, "A full-time soldier sleeps with his boots on."
Right.
It's not about me. It's about we, and it takes teamwork to make the dream work.
You remind me a lot of my grandfather, who pastors are always pastors, but he was a pastor out in Paulding County when they only had one little flashing light before the Super Walmart, the Kmart's, and all that came in. And I remember sleeping at his house as a young man, probably 10, 11 years old, and there'd be a knock at the old screen door, and it was the police with a homeless man who'd shown up in town, because it wasn't like it is today. They moved the homeless people on, and he would get up and he would offer him some food and take care of him. Now, he wouldn't let him stay in the house, but he would take him across the street to the church at 1:30 in the morning, Wow. And he's still today, even at 94 years old, he's still a pastor, still caring for the community. And when you have that calling, it's what you do 24/7. You don't turn it off at 5 p.m.
You don't turn it off. I get a kick out of helping people. I love it, because I'm making the world better, and people want to see a sermon instead of hear a sermon. So this event I got coming up December 22nd is free food, free parking, free training. I want people to see the sermon. I want them to see moving with love. I want to see how I do stuff. I care about the world. I know I've never seen a child on the news that I didn't do my program for some on the news negative, because I'm teaching children how to be a force for good and to do no harm. Just be a good human being.
Right. Well, it's very refreshing, Oren, and obviously, that we support you here at our firm. And, for people who want to learn more about Orrin and his organization, besomeone.org, you can go to besomeone.org. You can see what he's doing there. It's a great website. Have you guys updated that recently?
I think
it's fairly new.
I think I need to do a little bit more change, but I will say Casey Smith is the real deal. This brother, there's a list that I have. Who can I count on and who can I count out? And I sent an email out to 1,000 people, and he's the only one responded. So I just know that God is going to be with you, and I pray that God multiply whatever you've given to us 1,000,000-fold, because everybody is not who they appear to be. But this dude is the real deal, Holyfield. So Casey Smith, please support his work and what he does, because you call this guy at midnight, he delivers. So he's the same like he is now behind closed doors. So everybody is not genuine, but Casey Smith is the real deal, Holyfield. And for that, I say I appreciate you. And
thank you, Orrin.
We're in business because of this guy. So God bless you.
Well, I love what you're doing. I love people that are the real deal like yourself, but more importantly are not out for self-gratification, but to make people and society better. I feel like at my firm, obviously we make a profit, but only 2% of the world operates the way we do, is fiduciary and fee only. And when I see you, a lot of nonprofits are for profits. If you start looking at people's salaries,
right,
and you go, man, how much of my money actually goes to help people when the president's making $900,000 a year, and you're literally you would empty out your bank account to help these kids, and that's very special.
Well, that kid is me. I had a lawyer call me. He said, man, I sent my Latino kid to you and everybody else rejected him, but you welcome him with open arms. I said, yes, because the Latino kid is me. We all are one. Like I said, when I was a state trooper, I could have messed a lot of people up, but I treated that person like it's me, because we all are one, and I have to sleep at night. Yes, the judge want me to tow your car. Yes, she want to see you. Yes, she gonna put you in jail for a few days. But you know what? I'm going to stop her from doing that, because I'm going to bump this speed down and let you mail it in. Oh, and thank you. He don't understand. You are me. So I want you. I want to treat you like you're me, because we all are one.
That's right.
And I have to sleep at night. We used to hold driver's license check. And when we close the road down, you can't get by unless we check your license.
Right.
So I've stopped a few people that were suspended license, and I'm just trying to feed my family. I'm going back and forth to work. Please don't write me this $500 ticket. I said, okay, I got you. Don't let me catch you again. Get your license. Just, you got to treat people like it's you. He said, I'm trying to feed my family. You got the road closed.
Right.
Just, the person is you, Yeah, so we got to have mercy on people. We got to have compassion. We got to know that we all are one.
What do you do with tough cases? I don't think I've ever asked you this before, but not everybody is going to conform. Some people are sent to you versus coming to you. Those are two different things, right? What do you do with kids who come into the program but continue to make a ruckus?
Well, I try.
Mean, at some point they have to leave. You don't put a bad apple with good apples.
Yeah, I hear that, but I believe that I can show love no matter what. And the law say stone this woman, but we ain't stoning nobody.
Right.
We're going to try to work with everybody, because I remember a case in point. This lady, her son took a loaded gun to school, and her mom, she wrote him off. I said, no, we're not writing this kid off. We're going to work with this kid. We're going to get him on track. So I believe that no matter how bad it is, I believe they're in second chances. I believe in having mercy. I believe in sharing stories that can help people, because we all got to have mercy, and we got to forgive those who trespass against us as we forgive those who trespass against. So we got to show love no matter what. And I always believe there's a silver lining. I always believe in the power of God and moving with love. The word love means to give without expecting anything in return. The word love means to look for the good. And if you're looking for the good and you give without expecting anything in return, you will always win. So my message is mercy, mercy, mercy. Give people. Just try to love on people. Just love people.
So your program operates 100% on donations. These kids and these families aren't paying you. This is not AA. This is not rehab of some sort where you're paying $40,000 to enter the door. You're offering this as a community service for free.
I'm having it for free, and to be totally honest with you, every penny that I ever made in the last 23 years, I put it back into the program. So I'm the only CEO in the world that just put everything back. Why? Because I love it. I love making a difference. Like I said, when the lady called every agency in Atlanta, no one would help her. People with millions of dollars told her no.
Yeah.
But I said yes because I know that child is me, and if he wins, I win. It's not over until we all wins.
So I would encourage our listeners who have been moved by Orrin like I have over the years. You can go to his website, besomeone.org. There's a donate now button there. Consider donating directly through his website at besomeone.org, and you also read more about his bio and what he's doing in his community. Thank you, Orrin, so much for driving up here to Marietta and doing this with us today for the podcast. And Merry Christmas to you and your family and all those around. Be Someone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Casey. Casey Smith is a real deal, and please support his work because everybody is not the real deal. Some people will say something on camera and be a totally different off camera, but this guy at midnight, he's the real deal. So for that, I say thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone that's listening. And what we're doing has your name on it. You could be a part of changing the world one move at a time. Besomeone.org.
Thanks, Orrin.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This episode was produced and edited by Ken Hoadley. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or a solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guest may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guest of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.